Hi everyone. Welcome to the first module of the fine art of parenting teenagers, how to stay connected and keep them safe. My name is Kristen Maxwell. I'm a parenting and teen coach and also the mother of 3 daughters, 2 of whom are currently teenagers. So I am myself dealing with a lot of the issues that we are going to discuss in this course. My objective for this course is to help you prepare for your parenting journey so that you can parent your teenagers in a way that you are proud of and that is aligned with your values. I've seen and myself experienced how hard it is when our children change behaviors as they become teenagers, as they become moody, angry, confrontational. It's also hard to see the kids as they deal with their own issues of self-confidence, around peer pressure, around making decisions that are the best for them. And also it's very difficult because we want our kids to make great choices around staying away from drugs, alcohol, and unsafe sex. It is my goal that in going through this course, you will be prepared to handle all of these situations calmly, at least as calmly as possible when all of your buttons are being pushed, but at least that you will know what you want to do or say in given situations. So let me tell you a little bit about how the course works. First, every week for 6 weeks, you're going to receive a module, different lengths. I am playing around with different formats, whether in video or just straight recordings, and I'll be curious as to see what you like better. And along with the module, you are going to receive some questions. And these questions are the opportunity will give you the opportunity to evaluate your situation, your own teenagers, your own responses to things, so that you could really get the most out of how you want to apply what we are talking about. Later in the week, each week, we're going to have a 1-hour Q&A call. And this is your chance to bring any questions you have about what's going on with parenting, what's going on with your teen, and to receive coaching around how you might want to handle things. Sometimes, if there are issues that are uncomfortable for you, feel free to submit your questions to me in writing ahead of time, and I will be happy to address the questions confidentially without identifying who the issue actually is relating to. And another topic or tip for getting the most out of the course is you will find that a lot of times I recommend that you actually have conversations with your teen. Many of these conversations are going to be around topics that might be uncomfortable, depending on who you are and how comfortable your family is. Some of these topics might be uncomfortable. What you might want to do, and what people in the past have done, is you tell your teen that you're taking a course on how to be the best parent that you can be. And then, as we talk about different topics and we think about what it is that we want to say to our kids about these topics, you can then say, hey, so this week we're talking about sex and teenage sex. And so these are the kinds of things that we're going to talk about. It gives you a really easy transition to actually having the conversations with your kids in a way that is less maybe a little bit less uncomfortable, because it's just, hey, I've been told I need to talk to you about these things, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I want to make a note that most of what we talk about is going to apply equally, whether you have a boy or a girl. Occasionally there will be subjects that really apply more to girls or apply more to boys, but I still think it will be interesting to you to hear what kids of the opposite sex are dealing with. And occasionally I might refer to the teens as daughters or hers, and I apologize for that. I will try to keep it to go back and forth, but I have daughters, so in my mind, a lot of times teens are daughters. Another factor to consider is to maybe involve your spouse or the father of your children's kids in this process. Feel free to show them these videos, to share the questions with them. You might even want to have discussions around some of the topics yourselves, because really, to deal with situations, it's most effective if you can have a unified front on how things are going to be handled. And as the course goes on, we can talk about maybe some steps you can take if you and your spouse have vastly different styles of parenting, or if you are a single parent and your kids go back and forth, and maybe how that you can work together to make sure your kids have an easy parenting situation with you guys. As we talk about these situations and the topics, there will be times where there really is no right answer. There's no one way to do things. And on many of the topics, there are completely, vastly different ways of handling things. And so a lot of the time, I'm not going to say this is how to handle it. I will say this is how some experts recommend you handle it, and then this is how some other experts. And you will then need to evaluate what you want to do based upon your own values, your religious beliefs, and maybe even the personalities of your children, because they are all different. I do want to give a disclaimer. I am not a psychologist. I am not a medical professional. This program is designed primarily for adults whose children are not having significant behavioral or emotional problems. So if you have really any concerns about what your kids are doing or feeling, I recommend that you seek professional help. And if you have any questions about whether your children's behavior is significant, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can help you find resources to take care of your child. I would like to talk to you about the guidelines, sort of the procedures. First of all, I'm going to request that everything we talk about that is personal to us stays confidential. Don't go telling anybody else specific situations. The second is we may be talking about some peer pressure issues. If you can, please don't identify people by name. We don't need to know who is doing what, but you can just talk to, just make them generic. And also, I want to encourage you to ask all your questions, even if they're uncomfortable for you. Okay, I'm not going to judge you. We are going to all do our best as parents not to judge each other. This is a safe space. And if there is something that you really are just too uncomfortable to talk about publicly, again, feel free to send the question to me, and I will address it without naming any names. So we are all good parents. I know we are, because you guys are here taking this course. You care enough to learn. Some of what we talk about might be review. You all have skills. You all are already skilled parents. However, my goal is that you are going to be able to take some of the skills that we talk about here and apply them in your own situations. So you're going to know what to say or do when you're confronted by your teen or a situation, that you're going to be able to respond calmly when your teen is completely beside themselves with emotion, so that you will understand a little bit what's going on with them, some of their limitations, and maybe some of the pitfalls of the teenage brain. Maybe after taking this course, you will be able to have your child tell you more about what's going on with them. So you can stay a little bit closer, and you will be able to set out clear rules and consequences. I think that's it for the beginning intro part of it. We are going to get into the meat of it in just a moment.